Let's start with what are some obvious ones. So I think McCreary's been outstanding. So predicted 23. We know that Schultz is out. Dan Houston has to come in. Membry's on the sidelines, ready to go after missing that Brisbane clash against on Easter Thursday. So there's going to be some question marks, and I think it's going to take us a little bit to figure out this predicted 23. So let's go. I think Bobby Hill returned back to form, as too was the 200-game milestone man, Jamie Elliott. I think my check has been very good, so I think he obviously keeps his spot. There's no dropping him, and certainly hopefully there's no resting him for a game like Anzac Day. I don't think anyone would like to be quote-unquote managed for the Anzac Day clash. Some of you are saying Perryman in the midfield, Membry in for Cox. There's a lot of permutations to go through here, so we'll just work through the forward line first. I think McStay probably had one of his best games on Thursday against his old side. 3 goals in the first half and really led from the front. There was a lot of talks around the Jamie Elliott game and a lot of hype built up around that, but we also had McStay who had missed the flag with Collingwood in 2023 against his old side. And then his old side wins the flag in 2024. And in 2025, he comes back. Has a clean bill of health. And that this win probably meant a lot to Dan McStay. And he really showed out. So good to see that McStay could impact the scoreboard. We've been saying in weeks gone by, he's not smashing the scoreboard and the stat sheet, but I think he's doing more than enough to warrant his position in the field right now. Where's Kruger, says Madison. maybe Kruger will be somewhere here in the halfway through the season, I reckon. We'll have him here. He actually kicked 3 goals in the VFL for Geelong. So he was playing in the back line and then went into the forward line. Anyways, we move. Let's go. So, forward line. So what are we saying? Is Cox in the conversation? Who else do we have here? Will Hoskin Elliott, perhaps. I think he played more so backline against Brisbane, didn't he? No, he played forward line. So let's put him there. So let's go. Where are you, Hoskin Elliott? Hyphen. There you are, mate. Okay, Hoskin Elliott. Crisp, the big game against Essendon where he ties the record for most games strung together, which is an absolute milestone within itself. And then he will be the single leading most games in a row following Essendon against Geelong. That will be another massive celebration. Do you celebrate it twice, equaling and then taking the mantle as the number one? I think we'll celebrate it twice for sure. Who was on the other wing? Lipinski sort of had the other wing on lock for the entirety of this year thus far. Where are you, mate? Where are you, Lipper? Oh, where are you? Here we go. Okay, what's the chat saying? Are we on the par there? Are we on the par? Will Hoskin is just a Swiss Army knife. He sure is, and that's the beauty of having him in the side. He wasn't amazing against Brisbane, but he was okay. Chris says, I would love to see Charlie West make his debut for Collingwood this week. For Collingwood this week, I don't know if that actually happens, but we can all hope. If I think it comes down to whether De Goey as well will be made to be available, so we'll put him there on the bench. They were hoping to sort of pull him out of the game at 3/4 time, I think, and then they sort of just scrapped that and said, you know what, screw it, we'll play De Goey through the entirety of that game. And we talked about the fit to perform mantra that Fly likes to follow in 2025, but I think De Goey's the exception to the rule. I think you need to get him out on the AFL field to build up his fitness. There's no other way around it. You can't replicate AFL fitness, so you just have to get him out there. And if he's underdone, he's underdone. The fine line is making sure you have the right balance between who's injured, how many players are out there that aren't 100% ready to go, and how many are. And if there's too many that aren't ready to go, you can't throw De Goey into that mix. Where last year, you had Pendles who seemed underdone, Tom Mitchell, De Goey, a bunch of players, they just weren't quite there. And there were too many players that needed to be carried throughout games and sort of, messed us up early on and also mid-year when players started to come back. So we don't want that. But in this case, I think most of our players look pretty fit right now, especially the older ones. So I think compensating for De Goey right now, having most of his time go through the forward line at the moment, that's okay. Let's just keep getting games under his belt and we'll get him right at some point, won't we? Let's have a look. So DC is another obvious one. So without the other conversation in a chat that I'm seeing right now, so we've got DC, who's the obvious starting ruckman. But then the question is, does Cox stay in the side despite them not having Nick Bryan or Sam Draper anymore? And obviously, more importantly, for the game against us, they will have Todd Goldstein. So you can either say, do we need to be that tall? Or you can also make the argument, why don't we go tall and just outsize them, really? That's something that would definitely float through Fly's mind and the selection panel. I'll leave Coxie there for now. We're not quite there yet. I'll leave him there. Nick Dacos. Brad Scott reckons he's got a plan or two for Nick, but no one has come out victor against Nick Dacos when it comes to the tagging role just yet. And I hardly give the win to Toby Bedford, given Nick Dacos cramped up in the first half. We've got Ned Long, his bodyguard. Obviously, he's going to be right next to him, obviously. And then we'll chuck Sidey here. Sidey's been unbelievable. Pendles, mate, you just sit down next to old mate De Goey on the bench to start the game. Have a look and see what you're seeing as a player coach from the outside, and then bring that into the game after the first few minutes. What else have we got? So we've got the back line. I'll check the chat again just to see where we're at. Manny reckons it's too wet for Mason Cox. 25 mil of rain on Friday. Can't pick Coxie. It rains heavier. It'll be too much. Okay, so based on that, we're saying no Mason Cox, more so to do with the fact that Essendon are undersized and the weather. So maybe like the chat is suggesting, Cox is going to be a miss, unfortunately. So right now, we'll pencil him as a red, meaning he's out. So we'll keep Coxie off the field for now. Let's go into the back line. So we know Houston comes in, right? So let's put him right there. Hopefully he can just simmer down on these bloody suspensions. It's going to hurt us at some point. We need him playing footy for the club, not serving suspensions on the side. Frampton has been very good. So we'll put him, I suppose we'll just put him here. Darcy Moore, we all feared that maybe he had suffered a concussion. Fortunately, it was just some cartilage damage. He did miss Monday's training with some illness, so that's that. Pez had a really quiet game, but seems to be one of those players who's just going to fill a role, and who fills a role none better than, where are you, Q? Are you here somewhere, Q? Guys, have I got Quaynor here somewhere? There's Dean, there's McInnes, there's Markov Howe. Ryan, Jaff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I suppose I'm either blind or I've missed him, so we're going to copy this and make a new one. And put Quaynor here. Quaynor. And then we'll copy this style because it's done in a different font. Quaynor and Pez are the epitome of role players at the moment, and I'm totally fine with that. As long as we're getting everything else right in the field, that's fine. I can't ask for anything more from them. How? Bloody love the way he's going about his footy. Now, this is where it gets difficult, right? To me, guys, I think, unfortunately, Ed Allen's still not ready, and that's okay. Go to the VFL, play your trade. You played some minutes at AFL. You played the following day against Brisbane's VFL side. Just keep working towards what you need to work on. Whatever it is that isn't quite up to standard with him just yet, I don't think it's going to happen overnight. So I would just say stop flirting with Ed Allen at AFL level for like a month and just let him cook at VFL level and just keep working on what he needs to work on. I suspect that he needs to work on his his kicking efficiencies, more importantly, and he always looks like he's running at one pace. So I don't know if that's just inherently who he is with the way he runs around the field. When I saw him in that fourth quarter against Brisbane, I wanted to see him sprinting from one place to another. I just saw him sort of just dawdling on the spot, and it didn't look great for someone who just come on and is looking to solidify a spot in his team. So I think Cox and Allen. Now, Will Hayes kicked 3 goals in the VFL. Once again, it's a sexy look to bring in an AFL draftee who has had an amazing preseason. However, there's no reason to drop Membry, and I think if he's fit and ready to go, yes, he's tall, but he's very competitive at ground level. I've seen that on TV and also live, his work rate and his ability to compete at ground level, it's great. Lachie Sullivan was unfortunately a late out for the Cox change. Josh Dacos, I suppose, he's probably not going to start on the bench, but we'll put him there. It doesn't really matter in my opinion. And then, oh, goodness. So we've got Braz. We've got a problem here, and I think you guys have probably seen it, no? You guys are seeing a problem here, because I haven't got Braz on the field. Hold on, let's check. What's chat saying? Jacos, halfback, Pez starting to interchange and rotate and misses Andreas. All right, we'll do that first anyways. Like I said, it doesn't really matter who's on the bench or not, but I understand that Josh will probably start in the field. So for the sake of accuracy of what's going to happen on the weekend, we'll stick with that. Who's going to be our sub then? What are we saying? Am I missing something? Because I've got Bruzzy here. Bruzzy needs to come in. What are we saying? Oh, Hoskin Elliott. Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So we'll put Hoskin Elliott's the sub. Sorry, guys. There we go. Hoskin Elliott sub. We can put maybe Membry here, I think. We'll put Membry there. And then we'll put Quaynor. Just put Quaynor on the bench for now. Who cares? It really doesn't matter. And then we'll go Braz. How do we think that stands up against Essendon's side? Are we happy with that? We got there in the end. To go is sub, make it happen. Yeah, so you could definitely do that. You could go this here to Hoskin Elliott there, for sure. For sure. Sullivan is sub this week for Collingwood. I don't think he will make the side. Yeah, so that makes more sense as well. I know you guys are a little bit anal about position, so Billy in this situation would be a high half forward. You probably want Membry a little bit deeper, so I can see that. I'll honour that, Panda guy. I think we're pretty on the mark here, aren't we? Keep Allen in the VFL, says Israeli. Am I saying that right? Sean says wet weather, so Hoskin Elliott, Allen, and Cox out. Houston, Skunk, and Parker in. Parker sub, you reckon? See, I haven't heard too much about the way Will Parker has been going in the VFL. There's been a lot of raps for the likes of TJ and Cochrane. I don't know where Will Parker stands right now. Although I said that about Ned Long late in the preseason, and then look where he is now. So DC to be the solo ruck. Unfortunately, it does seem like Cox is going to miss, and I think Allen is the other obvious assumption. Allen out. Hayes emergency. So who would be the emergencies? Let's finish on that. I think Westy emergency. We'll put him over here. I'll put him there. Okay, West emergency. I think you probably say a TJ there. So you got forward cover, you got defensive cover, and what's versatile cover? Sullivan, yeah, good call, Tony. Love that. Look, I'd love to put Will Hayes there, but I still think Sullivan was a late out, a late change. So you'd have to imagine that's your emergencies there.